Hello folks, welcome to a little point and shoot vlog. I don't know if the audio works very well on this thing. It feels like the mic has been where's the mic? Today I am going to prepare the dining table for this house. I need my palm sander, good old 40 grit. I like to use super high grit stuff. I'm clearing off some stain from this old dining table we picked up. Let me show you. Extension cord. We need an extension cord. What a mess. Hello. We're cat sitting right now. Got some life in the house. Aside from everything being extremely empty. Oh, there's a rabbit too. Is that Benji? So we have no dining table right now. This is the kitchen. Absolutely nothing in here. In the living room, no couch, just two bikes. That's it. Oh, it's raining out here. I guess that's good for managing the sand. So here's the dining room table that we picked up. Big old heavy thing, giant beefy wood legs. I kind of want to remove the legs and like weld up a little frame with some steel or something. Paint them black, I don't know, something cool looking. But for now, these are all fine, aside from the kind of janky hose clamp. I don't know, it works, it's sturdy. The tabletop though is pretty bad. There's a bunch of paint on it. It's got a terrible old dark stain. It's got some warping on it, some cracks that I gotta fill. This is gonna be a high point that I have to sand down because I guess it just kind of bowed up a bit. But yeah, the plan is to just sand this sucker down, get it nice and smooth, fill the cracks, and throw some like teak oil or Danish oil on it, something like that. Oh, hush. Hey, you know me, brother. You know me. This guy, always yapping about something. The dogs over there are kind of funny because whenever I come out here with power tools, all I do is I show them. I show them the power tool and then they stop barking. They'll be like, hey, this is an orbital sander. This is the sound it makes. And then they understand and they don't bark at it. So I like to use 40 grit. It's kind of a messy piece of sandpaper, might have to remove it. But I kind of go crazy with the grit numbers because I don't really care that much about like grooves and stuff. I'm probably gonna go like 40, 80, 120 and just leave it there. I'm not going for like a beautiful shiny finish on this thing. Just, you know, something better than what it is. These little dents that have the old darker stain in them, those are gonna take a while to knock down. I might just leave some of them there as long as the thing is like clean. I don't really mind. This is gonna be a pain, this little groove. I thought about buying one of those like squishy sanding pads, but I don't think they work for an orbital sander, so I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I guess I'm gonna try to get in there as much as I can, and then for this edge maybe I'll just stick like the corner of a file in and just manually go around the edge. I think I'm gonna grab a new sheet of sandpaper because this is gonna take a while to get through. But yeah, this is gonna look pretty. You can already tell. So yeah, you can see the low spot where either this board warped up or this one warped down. That's gonna take a while to knock down. But luckily I've got a lot of 40 grit. Little trick with orbital sanders. It's kind of unintuitive, but if you have a sander that actually fully spins around and it's not just oscillating, the edges are going to sand quicker than the center because the center is not spinning as fast, you know? Makes sense, but, you know, feels counterintuitive to knock this down by hitting it just with the edge there. It's kind of cool. You can see how poorly this stain was applied because you can see literally like droplet patterns of where I guess it was probably thicker and it didn't cure as well, something like that. But yeah, coming along nice. Definitely an 80 grit than a 120 grit. I think once I get it all knocked down pretty good, I'm gonna run my wood filler. Don't know exactly what I'm gonna use for that. You know, I've heard a trick before of you fill it with wood glue and sawdust or super glue and sawdust. The wood glue and sawdust trick has never worked for me. It always feels a little mushy at the end. Super glue and sawdust works pretty well, but you end up using a lot of super glue. So I don't know. I've got some wood filler. Oh no, I know what I need. I need just like regular wood filler. I have JB Weld, the kind that sticks to wood, but that's gonna be overkill and hard to get in there. So I probably need to do a hardware store run for this. And at that point I might as well grab the squishy sanding pads for this. But you know what part of me wants to do? Is I feel like this whole beveled edge is kind of dated anyway. I kind of want to just chop it and have a sharp edge right here, you know? But that would be hard to do and make it pretty, so I don't know. We'll see. It's going well. It's very satisfying knocking down this whole thing, having at least a little patch that looks final. Just swap to a new sanding pad. So much faster. No, don't do it. Okay, I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm happy to report. I was kind of worried when I started on this side because of this seam. It took a while to knock down right there, but I don't think there's any other seams that are quite that bad with the warping. This one's a little rough, but not quite as bad as that one. So I think the rest of this should go off pretty well. Might get sketchy over here. That's definitely the biggest crack we have to deal with. I think this is like old mold, but I'm sure it's dead.
Yeah, it's dead for sure. Especially once we cover it.
Yeah, I think we got to do a dark stain because of that, and
yes, just
to match the bottom. Kind of looks cool light though.
It does. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I just don't want to have to sand down the bottom, so like I've been sanding for like an hour straight. non-stop. I'm surprised this thing hasn't like overheated or anything. This was an as-is pickup, like from the returns table at Harbor Freight, probably like 20 bucks. Just went for an hour straight on max speed. Hell yeah. Just gotta finish up these edges. I'm working my way around, and then I gotta hit this curve somehow. I did a test spot over here, hit the curve a little more. It's gonna be hard to get in there, but honestly, I'm staining it dark anyway, so I don't think it's that bad if I leave some in there, and it'll just, you know, add a little bit of depth to it. Need me a file. That should do. And a big old brush. I don't think I have any wood filler, unfortunately. I do have JB Weld Quickwood, but I don't think that's really what I want. Maybe I use wood glue just so I don't have to go buy wood filler. Maybe epoxy? Taking the wood glue. Let's see how this works. It's this little rim right in there. It's better than nothing for sure. Cleans up good enough. It's a dark stain, so I don't really mind too much, but it's certainly better than that. Not bad. I'm just gonna go ahead and YOLO this crack with some wood glue. Table's already kind of jank, so who cares? I think it shrinks a little as it dries, so we might have to go 2 rounds, but I don't want it to take too long to cure, so I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Alright, more sandpaper. I've got so many of these 5-inch discs. I used to work at Harbor Freight, and right before I left, I just got a ton of stuff on clearance and 20% employee discount. Got a bunch of super cheap sanding discs. So I'm gonna go 80, then 120. Alright, so I'm running some tests with some old wood stain that I've got. Our choices are between this golden oak and this natural. There's the bare wood, there's natural, there's golden. I think the golden is not going to pair well with this very dull, old kind of mid-tone. But I think the contrast of the natural, like light top, light yellowy top, dull, medium base, I think could be pretty sick. It's not going to cover up this stuff as well, but I don't know, it might look kind of cool, like a bit of an aged look. And we can always go darker is the thing. So I kind of want to just run a coat of that, see how we like it, and then we can always go darker. Anyway, for now, this wood glue, I mean, it's still soft, but it's like setting. I'm always too impatient with this stuff, but I think I'm just going to razor blade, trim it off. And I can always go back in and fix it anyway, especially if we're staining a second coat. So whatever, I'm going to be impatient so we can put the stain on tonight. In any case, it's better than nothing, as opposed to just leaving the cracks open and maybe I let it cure for longer. Anyway, that right there is a table that's nice and smooth and pretty. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna brush it down and then maybe we'll throw a coat on. And it dries a lot less intense, so we can do multiple coats for sure.
Yeah, I fuck with this.
Yeah, if we can get it to like 3 coats and like get it to that color at the end, that'd be sick. Beautiful. Madsen's gonna be jealous.
Actually, his IKEA table ain't shit on ours.
Yeah, and this shit's free. Didn't spend a dime.
The best type of table is a free one.
You can go over to the edges if you want. I'm gonna sand them again once the wood glue's dry, but can't hurt to have a bit extra on there.
True.
This is sick. This dining table is making me hungry. It's crazy the difference. Like this looked like shit
This
3
looked
hours
so
ago.
bad. There was a moment when we would eat on it at night out here where I'm like, our house might look like just trash with this thing in it. This actually,
This is
this
sick.
looks really good.
Alright, it is now like 2 weeks later. I just gave it another sand down with the 220 all the way around the sides and stuff. This ended up drying quite a bit lighter than it went on, which I should have expected. So I'm going to throw on a coat of the golden oak, because after the golden oak dried, it is also quite a bit lighter, and that's kind of what we were going for. This set looks more like this did when it was still wet, so I'm just gonna throw a bunch of that on there and see what it looks like, and then go for a polyurethane finish. Uh-oh. Should have checked that first. You need a big brush. That we'll have to do, maybe paper towel. There we go. I don't know if a pillowcase is the standard application method for wood stain, but honestly it seems to be working pretty well. So this stain like looks super green going on, but I think it's gonna dry a lot duller. And that is a beautiful golden oak. Should dry up a lot duller. I need something to clean this brush in, so I'm gonna use this Pokemon tin. It's the perfect size. Put some acetone in there, some solvent. Get that thing freed up. I shouldn't be doing this indoors. Taking this outside. It's kind of rough, but it'll do. Alright, one more hit of 220, and then I'm going to throw the polyurethane finish on there. Alright, the time has come. Everything seems to have set well enough. It is dark outside now, but I'm going to run it, let this thing cure overnight, and hopefully it'll be good enough to bring in tomorrow morning. I've moved the table a little bit away from the porch light to try to keep the bugs away from it. But worst case, I gotta, sand down one more spot and reapply, but it ain't gonna be perfect, but it'll be good enough. That's a lot. Oh, cool, we already have a bug. You love to see it. So I'm just gonna try to get good coverage first, and then I'll kind of go with the grain. Get my brush strokes in. Let's try to get the edges a little bit. Can't see too well, so I'm kind of going off a feel. I feel like I need a bit more on that side. Not quite sure how much these brush strokes are going to show up in the end, and I can always hit it with some 220 and then do a second coat too. Hopefully I'm not going too hard and this whole thing is going to be sticky in the morning, but we'll find out. One last brush across the whole length. You know, a second coat wouldn't be bad anyway, because there's enough kind of divots in this whole thing. It's sort of starting to gum up quicker than I hoped. So I probably wasted too much time hitting the edges. Now my surface finish is going to be a little shoddy. Looks good from my house. That's it for tonight, I think. Don't want to overdo it more than I already have. Somebody sample that. It's looking real pretty now. I sanded it down once more with 220. Threw one more coat on there, made sure to get the brush strokes all nice. We'll see how it turns out. They're keeping these tiny little bubbles of stain. So I feel like that implies I didn't let the stain sit for long enough, and it's kind of seeping out as the coating is setting, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'll see what I can do about that. I might sand the whole thing down smooth after anyway, like 220, then 400, then 800 or something. I don't know. The table is indoors.
Indoor table, indoor table, indoor table.
We did it. What do you think, Pappas?
It looks good. Even though it won't be exactly centered with Schindler, let's pull just a little more this way so people aren't super close to that. That's good.
Yes, sir. It's a little rough, a little spotty,
Jason, we bring that spray in, please?
but I think it'll wear in.
Fuck yeah, mates. Then, will you do me a favor while I prep dinner? I know you have to grind. Will you clean the dishes? Because Homelander's got me wife's kid.
This motherfucker. Gotta work in that finish, boys. Cheers.
Do it.
To a new table.
Yeah.